Welcome to another ranking video. Today I'm going to be sharing hair oils. I asked you over on Instagram what your favorites are, like I always do for these videos. I have an entire playlist if you guys want to check it out. We're going to get straight into it, but I would love if you would consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do lots of hair content and beauty and lifestyle mixed in there too. So I hope you'll stick around, but I also asked on my community tab as well. At the end, I'll let you know what the most popular answer was and also maybe share a couple that weren't in the top 5, but that also got mentioned a few times. So one that I saw quite a bit was the Olaplex number 7 bonding oil. And I haven't really thought of this one very much, even though I know that it's pretty popular just in general in like the hair care world, regardless of whether you have wavy or curly hair. A lot of people love Olaplex. It is a bonding treatment and it's great for repair. And a lot of us with curly wavy hair have a lot of damage in our hair. A lot of us still bleach or dye our hair or do things that cause damage. I know I still like to use heat on my hair sometimes, so that definitely causes damage within my hair. And I do like to have the option of using bonding treatments, but I personally do not even own a bonding oil in my collection. I don't really use oil for that type of a thing. Usually I'm using it to put into my hair after it's dry or just to like touch it up, give it some shine. It's definitely one of my personal favorite steps in my routine, but it's not something that I use as much as a treatment unless I'm doing a scalp oil, which I've talked about in the past, but we're not going to get into that right now. Yeah, I guess I'm not really surprised to see Olaplex on the list because it is a very popular brand in general, especially for damaged hair. But the next oil, actually this one is also a bonding oil, which I didn't expect to see as much, but it makes sense because a lot of the times if you're using an oil, you want it to have a lot of health benefits to it for your hair. This one is from Curlsmith, and I have obviously a lot of wavy curly people following me, so it makes sense that a brand like Curlsmith is mentioned, even though honestly I feel like most of these could just be used for any hair type. I feel like when it comes to hair oils, what you use is more about the texture of your hair, like if you have very fine versus very coarse hair, than it is about how curly or wavy your hair is, because even if you have straight hair, you can totally use an oil in your hair. It's more about finding the right one for how fine or coarse your hair is, but we won't get into that conversation today either. I just wanted to note that. I've never tried the Curlsmith one either, so both of these are products I haven't tried. I'm gonna put pictures on the screen for you guys. I'm sure you already saw that, but I have heard really good things about the Curlsmith one, and I think it would be nice to try a bonding oil, so that is one that would kind of be on my wish list to try out, just to see how my hair likes it. Let me know your thoughts on a bonding oil, if it's something just in general overall that you feel like is really great and makes a big difference in your hair, or if you haven't tried a bonding oil before, whatever. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing your guys' opinions on different hair products and different types of things because I'm still learning too, and I haven't tried everything, like you guys have often given me incredible recommendations for techniques and products and all that good stuff. So let me grab my oils that I actually do have here with me now. Then we have one that I actually do physically have here to share with you. And it doesn't really surprise me that this is further up the list, especially for my followers, because this is the first hair oil I ever really fell in love with. I used to talk about it all the time. And not only that, but it's also just in general a more popular hair oil for lots of different hair types, and it's kind of mid-price range, so it's not too expensive. This is the Verb Ghost Oil. I heard this talked about long before I ever personally tried it, before I was really into hair oils, so I never ended up picking it up until I ended up getting a sponsorship with Verb, which was super exciting. It was the first hair care brand that I had ever done a sponsorship with, and I really ended up loving their curl line. So even though this isn't from the curl line, they did send me this, and I ended up talking about it in that video and falling in love with it, and it's probably my most used hair oil just over the years because it was the first one that I fell in love with. It's really good formula, although I have so many hair oils in my collection now, and I have a lot of new favorites, like for instance the Day Prickly Pear hair oil. I really like the smell, and the bottle is really cute and everything, so I use that one a lot lately, and I've mentioned it in recent videos, but the actual formula of it is actually very similar to the Verb Ghost oil. So if you want something more affordable, this is a really great option because it still does the same thing. It's just more affordable. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that this one is higher on the list, especially for the fact that it's my followers. You guys have heard me talk about this hair oil for years and years. So even though I don't mention it as much nowadays, I still think this is a really good one. It is a little bit on the thicker side, so it might be slightly better for medium to coarse textured hair, but that's not to say that you can't use it or won't like it if you have fine hair. That's just something to keep in mind. It is a little bit thicker than some of the other oils here. Although another thing to remember, guys, is that just because an oil is thicker doesn't mean that it is way heavier, because if there are a lot of natural oils in a product, or just even depending on the formula, an oil can actually be thinner but still leave your hair feeling more greasy. It just depends on like the ingredients and everything. So I will share one that is a good example of that later on. But yeah, we're getting sidetracked, so just wanted to mention that. But that is the Verb Ghost oil. And then in second place, another one that I actually don't have here with me and that I haven't tried is the Ouai hair oil. And this is one that I've heard a lot of people talk about. Out of the ones on this list that I haven't tried, this is probably the one I've heard the most about. I feel like a lot of people really like it and just like that brand in general. I've heard people that I personally know say they like that oil. I think it's just really popular for some reason among people of all different hair types. And I'm not sure why I've never picked it up. I guess it's just not super talked about in the curly wavy community, but a lot of you guys mentioned it. So obviously some of you guys anyways with wavy curly hair are using the Ouai hair oil, and I actually haven't tried anything from the Ouai brand. I know that a lot of people talk about the scent and say their products smell really good. I love the packaging. Everything looks really luxurious, but I just haven't tried anything from them. So let me know how you feel about the brand as a whole if you have curly wavy hair, because I think that would just be interesting to know. Let me know in the comments. Just like I said, doesn't surprise me that this one is second place, because the brand overall is just a popular brand. And keep in mind, not all of my followers have curly wavy hair. I definitely have people who are not in that space and who have different hair textures. Not everyone follows me for that type of content, so just keep that in mind. But this was the second most talked about oil. And then in first place, in a way, this really surprised me. This is the most affordable product on the list, but it does kind of make sense in that way because a lot of people don't want to spend a ton of money on a hair oil, you know? And it's also just a very talked about type of oil, if that makes sense. I'll share it with you guys so that you kind of will know what I mean. But this is one that I only have a mini of, and it is the Hask Argan Oil. But a lot of people also just mentioned argan oil in general, although whenever someone did mention a specific brand, it was usually the Hask one, which totally makes sense because, like I said, it's an affordable product, and significantly so compared to the other ones here on this list. This is not only something you can find at the drugstore, but it's like even cheaper than some of the other hair oils that you can find at those stores. Yeah, that is the number one most talked about oil. I do think this is a nice oil. I haven't used it a ton. I only have this little mini size. I did a review on Hask a few months ago, so I shared my thoughts and everything, and I've tried it a couple times since then, and I do really like it. It is a little bit more the texture of like the Verb Ghost oil and the Day One, but it's not heavy or anything on the hair. It's fairly lightweight, but it makes sense if someone's gonna go for a hair oil. I think I would recommend this personally over just a plain argan oil. I think there are other ingredients in here because it says it is a repairing hair oil made with argan oil. So keep that in mind. It's not just argan oil. I have tried regular, just 100% argan oil on my hair in the past. I had one from Shea Moisture and it was fine. But with a natural oil like that isn't formulated specifically for hair, sometimes it can be a little bit too much. I feel like when a hair oil is specifically formulated for hair, it tends to just be a little bit more forgiving and not be too heavy or intense on the hair. So that's why I'm going to say, just right off the bat, if you're new to hair oils and you want to pick up the most popular thing on this list, but you definitely don't want something that's too heavy, I would say check out the Hask one instead of just going out and buying just any argan oil, because it's going to be different than a product like this. But obviously people like regular argan oil for their hair too, because it was mentioned, and it totally makes sense why it's just a popular oil when in the hair care and skincare and beauty industry. So it makes sense if someone is going to pick up just a natural pure oil, it's going to be probably an argan oil most of the time. Again, I haven't used this one a ton, so it's not one that I'm overly familiar with, but when I've used it, I really liked it. And like I said, I think it's a good affordable option that is a little bit similar to like the Verb and the Day hair oils. So that is number one. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I did want to quickly go over just a couple others that got mentioned a few times but weren't as high on the list. And I just thought I'd mention them because these are two that I have here physically with me that I've talked about before and I've used before and that I really like. So the first one is the bread hair oil. This doesn't surprise me because it's such a great hair oil for all hair types. I think this would probably be the most universal one on this in this video that I've personally tried. I know it wasn't the most talked about, but I think just from my personal experience, this would be a really, really universal product because it is so thin and lightweight and it's never too much, but it still does what you want a hair oil to do. That's just my personal opinion. I know we're talking here about like other people's recommendations, but those are my thoughts, and this did get mentioned a few times. So I just wanted to tell you guys that I really love this one. And then the other one, I was really surprised to hear about this from multiple people because it's not a very well-known brand in general, but I think it is getting more popular, which is really exciting because I've been working with this brand for a while, so I love that they're getting more recognition now. This is the Innate Life, and this is their Rose Hair Elixir. Some people actually also mentioned the Rosemary Scalp Treatment, which you know if you watch my channel, I love that product. That is also an oil, but it's more of a treatment oil that I use on my scalp. I don't apply that to my hair like if I'm gonna be wearing it down or natural. It's more of a pre-wash product, but this is their just hair oil that you can use in lots of different ways. And this one is an organic product. It has a lot of different oils in it. So this is one of those ones that I use just a couple drops of, like 2 or 3 drops, and it does the job. That's enough. A little goes a long way. So I would say don't use too much of this one, but if you're very sparing with it and you just use a few drops, then it's a great product and obviously really has really good ingredients and is really good for your hair if you're looking for something that is more the nourishing treatment kind of route that's going to be really good for your hair, but you don't specifically want like a bonding oil or something. This would be a really good option, and it is pretty mid price range, so it's not as pricey as some of the other ones on this list. And I really just thought it was cool to see different people talk about it and see that it's getting more popular. And I know I have talked about it on my channel in the past, but I think just in general, the Innate Life is becoming a more popular brand, which is great because a lot of their products are mid-price range and they are really good organic ingredients. So that is going to be it. Those are all the oils I had to talk about in this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what types of products you want to see me ranking next. I love reading what your guys' favorites are and sharing them in these videos. Let me know in the comments what your favorite hair oils are. I'd just like to know in general because it's really interesting for me to hear. And that's going to be it for today. Hopefully I will see you guys in my next one.